Hey there. It's me, Eden. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to my channel and visit my Patreon page for early access, link in the comment, thanks. I slept very soundly and woke up to find Miss Scarlet in my arms. It was the first time in a week that had happened. I put her back into her place of honor on the shelf and went into the bathroom to wash up, before putting on my robe and slippers so that I could go downstairs. I retrieved the Sunday paper from the front step and sat down in the kitchen, with a glass of orange juice, to read the paper. As had become my custom over the past several months, I looked at the entertainment section first. There were reviews of new movies, and a few articles about the upcoming television season, but nothing about Oliver on board. I finished the section without finding anything of real interest, and I was reading the comics when Mom came in. After kissing me good morning, she took out a pan and began to make some scrambled eggs. I got up and helped by making toast and pouring juice while she put on a pot of tea. Carol came in rubbing her eyes just as we sat down to eat. Everybody grabbed a section of the paper and we passed the mealtime in relative silence. As we cleaned the kitchen, Carol said to me, "Do you want to go to the mall later with Heather, Sherry, and me? You just spent the day there yesterday."
Yeah.
So? I smiled, "No thanks. I was spotted yesterday at the market. I don't want to risk spoiling your trip." "Okay." Mom said, "Is all of your homework done, Carol?" "Almost. No mall until it's all done." "Oh, Mother. I'll have it done before tomorrow." "You'll have it done before going to the mall. Understand?" "Okay. I'll have it done before I go." "Good. Crystal, we have to go pick up your clothes from Barbara. She said that she would have most of them done today, if not all." "Okay, Mom. I'm done here. I'm going upstairs to bathe." "Okay, dear." I relaxed in the warm, fragrant water for as long as I could. Then it became a matter of adding more hot water or getting out, so I reluctantly got out and drained the tub. I knew that Carol would be waiting to use it right after me. After drying off and wrapping a towel around my torso, I knocked on Carol's door and went into my bedroom. I pulled on a pair of panties and dropped the towel as I stepped in front of my mirror so that I could examine my breasts. After a thorough examination, I could not detect any sign of the seam where the breasts met the skin of my chest. I knew that it would be time to remove them and clean the skin underneath within the next couple of weeks. Just handling them caused my breathing to quicken, and I remembered what Barbara had said about sensory deprivation of the skin beneath. I put on my bra and wrapped my corset around my waist. I tightened the laces down as much as I could, then sat down to work on my hair and face. Carol came into my room after she got out of the bath and tightened my corset for me. It has become a regular part of our morning routine. An hour later, Mom and I were ready to leave for the theater. Carol was working on her homework and was nearly done. Mom had come into my room and tightened my corset again before selecting a tight skirt and blouse, and a pair of 4-inch single-strap heels for me to wear. I would almost have rather stayed home where I could be comfortable. Mom still felt that I had to maintain my look every time I left the house. As we entered, I was immediately struck by all of the activity in what I had expected to be an empty theater. The stage lights were on and the crew was working on the scenery. Mom and I walked to the makeup room, where we found Marge and Barbara playing cards, as usual. "Hi. What's going on in the theater?" I said. Barbara said, "They're cleaning everything, touching up the scenery, and doing a little painting. Basically, just getting things ready for the videotaping this week." "When did it get approved?" Mr. Tucker called last night after the television studio made the decision to go ahead with the taping. He contacted the entire crew to get them down here today. They should have the theater all set before the end of the day, and I think that they plan to start taping on Friday. You weren't notified? Mom said, my daughters had the phone tied up all last night. They'll probably call today and leave a message on the machine. Crystal told them that she was flexible for scheduling right now since she doesn't have any other jobs. We sat down and enjoyed a cup of tea and some conversation with Marge and Barbara before collecting the clothes that Barbara had altered and returning home. I was glad to get out of the tight skirt and heels and into my t-shirt and halter top shorts. I lounged around the house for the rest of the day, spending a little time with my school books and a little time watching TV. As Mom had predicted, there had been a message from the television studio on the answering machine asking me to report to the theater at 6 o'clock on Friday. During the following week, Barrett's department store called and made arrangements for me to do the commercials. They had cleared everything with my agent, and Mom had confirmed that and the other deals when she spoke with Mr. Daniels at the agency. The videotaping at the theater would be completed first so that the post-production work, or editing, could be started. Then the commercials would be shot at Barrett's during the following weekend, and then the host sessions would be done after that. I already knew the script for the play forwards and backwards, but I had to learn the scripts for the commercials and the host activities. On Friday, Mom took me to the theater right after dinner. I had barely touched my food because I knew that I would never fit into my costumes if I ate very much. It was wonderful to see my friends again. The television studio had contracted with Rick Verkasky, who plays Captain Martin, Neil Broderick, who plays my father, Patricia Silby, who plays my scatterbrained mother, and of course Mr. Tucker, who performed in the role of I. Charles, the butler. Most of our original crew was there to move the scenery and handle the lighting and such. The director called us all together exactly at 6 o'clock and outlined the shooting schedule. Basically, we would do the play exactly as we had before, but we would skip over various scenes that would be better served by using the original footage. Following the meeting, we all hurried off to get into costume and makeup. Barbara and Mom helped me to get dressed. After I had stripped down to panties, bra, and corset, Barbara took a tape measure and checked my waist. Then, stepping behind me, she started to tighten the laces on the corset until I could barely breathe. It seemed that every time I put on the costume dresses, they got smaller. Of course, it had been several weeks since I had worn one. Once Barbara was satisfied, they started layering me with the clothes, corset cover, several petticoats, and then the heavy dress and bustle. I couldn't bend, so Mom put the 1890s style, high heel, ankle boots on my feet. When I was dressed, I went to makeup so that Marge could fasten the wig and apply the stage makeup. We started shooting at 7 o'clock and continued until after 11. The director from the TV studio couldn't change the play, but he did move the cameras around quite a bit and reshot most of the scenes from different angles a dozen times. By the end of the night, we had only completed the scenes in Act 1. We broke for the night, and the director called for us to be in makeup and ready to go at 10 a.m., which meant that we had to be at the theater by 8:30. Everything had to be done by Monday, so we would stay with it for both Saturday and Sunday, if necessary. On Saturday, we worked all day until 10 p.m. A buffet was available in one of the storage rooms offstage for the cast and crew so that we didn't have to break for meals. During the day, many of the other cast members, including Debbie, stopped in to watch. Even Carol, Heather, and Sherry took time out from their daily trip to the mall to watch for a couple of hours. By the end of the day, we were halfway through Act 3, and the director called for us to resume at noon on Sunday. I was really beat after the schedule so far. This was even far more grueling than doing 2 performances on Sunday. I couldn't wait to get home and hop into bed. Sunday was more of the same. The director spent the most time with the kissing scene near the end of the play, where Captain Martin bends me over backward and kisses me until after the applause stops. The director must have shot that scene from 20 different angles, and Marge had to touch up our makeup after each take. Right from the beginning I noticed a major difference in Rick's kiss. Instead of being the simple touching of lips that had characterized the kissing during the regular performances, his kisses had taken on the passion that I had felt in the hallway following our last performance. With each retake, his passion seemed to grow as he kissed me harder and deeper than the last. The director loved it and urged him on, but I was beginning to wonder if he was acting. At the urging of the director, I responded to Rick's ardor and tried to match his eagerness in the kiss. During the final take, Rick's tongue pushed its way into my mouth and began exploring. One of the things that I was aware of, but that was hidden from the camera's view by Captain Martin's tunic, was that Rick's passion was not limited to his upper body. I also noticed that he walked a little stiffly during the last few minutes of the play. Everyone applauded when the director shouted that we were done. As the TV people put away their equipment, Mr. Tucker called us together and thanked us for our efforts. He said that he hoped that we would all be available for the next play. He hadn't decided on which one yet but would start auditions in November. As we walked to the makeup room, Rick put his arm around my shoulders. I felt that it was only the presence of the others that kept him from expressing his passion once again. As it was, he was never very far away except when I went into the wardrobe room to change out of my costume. When I emerged from the wardrobe room, Rick was standing in the hallway. He said, "Crystal, do you have a minute?" "Sure, Rick," I said as I stopped in front of him. "I wanted to tell you how much I've enjoyed performing with you. These last few months have been wonderful. I have always looked forward to our time together on the stage." I smiled at him and said, "Thank you, Rick. I have enjoyed working with you also." "Is that all?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, just working with me?" I did see, but I decided that it was better to play dumb. "I don't follow you." He sighed. "Never mind." He smiled. "I hope that we have a chance to work together again sometime. This play has definitely been the high point of my life." "Mine too. It has opened up a whole new world that I never imagined. I also hope that we have an opportunity to work together again sometime."
Goodbye,
Rick.
goodbye,
Crystal. I debated whether or not to kiss him on the cheek because I was afraid of where that might lead, but I decided that it was the right thing to do. He kissed my cheek as well, and then I turned and walked away. I found Mom standing on the stage talking with Mr. Tucker. We said our goodbyes and left for home. It was just after 7 p.m. and I was starving. We had only eaten breakfast and then left for the theater, arriving before 11 a.m. so that I could be in costume by noon. Carol had made dinner, but it was cold by the time that we arrived home. We heated up the chicken, vegetables, and potatoes in the microwave and sat down to eat. Mom said, "Mr. Tucker was singing your praises again. He said that every time he sees you on stage, he marvels at your acting ability. He says that you are a natural-born actress and that you should definitely make the theater your life's work. He said that he knows that Crystal Ramsey will be a household name someday." I smiled and said, "Sometimes it seems like I'm going to be a big fish in a small pond." "The other will come, honey. In a few weeks this town will be buzzing with your name. Even if the TV series completely edits out your performance in the premiere, you'll still be in demand here and eventually you'll get other jobs when people see your work. We're not very far from Chicago and perhaps you'll get some work from there. Remember that Mr. Daniel's agency is working for you in California. I predict that all at once you'll be inundated with offers. I do hope that I get something in California. We still haven't had a chance to do very much sightseeing, and Carol really wants to go. We'll get there again. If not this year, then next. We finished eating and I was excused from cleaning up because I hadn't done my homework yet. Since Friday, I have been constantly involved with the play. I worked on my schoolwork until it was time for bed. Carol had gotten to use all of my telephone time tonight because I needed to be sturdy. She came into my room to help me loosen the corset before going to bed herself. She said, "Sean and Pete want to double date next Saturday. What do you think?" "I'm sorry, I can't. I will be shooting the commercials at Barrett's next weekend. We're starting after the store closes on Friday, and if we don't get it done in one night then we'll have to work Saturday night also." "But there's a chance that you will get done on Friday?" "Yes, a chance. But I can't make any promises. I would hate to disappoint Sean at the last minute." "Okay, I'll tell them that it's only a slim possibility that you can make it, and let them decide if they want to take the chance." "Okay, sis, good night." "Good night, cries." Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access. Link in the comment, thanks.